silly. Like, you use like proper info. This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
Today we are going to be giving you a lot of words about some comics without any words. We got two dialogueless comics here. I got a Shhhh from Jason.
And I got Trax by Tiger Tateishi.
And yeah, these are two great examples, I feel, of what we were talking about regarding creating your own pacing while you're reading, because without dialogue to slow you down, the question is, how does that affect the reading process if you are just looking at pictures? And I guess it's interesting to me how different both of these books are, because on one hand you're like, oh yeah, they're dialogueless comics, but they come from such different angles. They kind of couldn't be more different. If anything, they're almost like mirror opposites of each other in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. I think the only through line that we could grab from this was they stick to the medium and the pacing and use of time. And, I think thematically they're like worlds apart.
Yeah, the instruments of which they use to tell the stories are all interesting and different as well. So, I don't know, should we just get into this and break it down?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. How hard? So I've read a handful of Jason comics before, and I was surprised you haven't really gotten deep into it.
Yeah, I had just heard about Jason Comics through like Fantagraphics newsletters and stuff like that. Like, I thought it was very pretty pictures, like right up my alley. I love kind of animal comics. It's kind of like the stuff I grew up on was like fucking Redwall and Sonic the Hedgehog and shit like that, when I was that's really what was it for me for comics, and this was right up my alley now,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like his stuff is so immediately enjoyable just to look at. To just give you a sense of what's going on with some of the art here. It's very simple. It's very clean, but it's also like, I don't know, a testament to how much you can cram into a comic in terms of expression and emotion and feeling and levity and all that, but with a very, very simple and clean style. I've always liked his stuff a lot, but actually now that I think about it, I don't have like an encyclopedic knowledge of his work. I just kind of pick his comics up when I see them, and I'm like, that was great, and then I never think about him again. So I appreciated like showing them to you and having I don't know, getting to look at it like someone who wasn't super familiar with them would look at it.
Yeah, this was a well-written comic without words, for sure. Without an ounce of words.
And very, I think the main thing I take away from his comics are how emotional they are. I don't know. I mean, there's certain techniques he uses, I think, by having like these very kind of plain, almost expressionless characters where you have to kind of put your own thoughts and emotions into what they're going through, that I think kind of gives it a little bit more of a heartache quality than it would be if it had dialogue. I mean, I guess I'll spoil it and get to the sequence of that I really like in this one. And this is like pure waterworks here. He's got his this girl that he's fought for, and he gets her out of the hospital after a long fight, and then boom, gets hit by the car. Which I don't know. I feel like a lesser artist would kind of treat as like a gag or something.
Yeah, they maybe would fuck that up. For sure.
Or it would end there,
right,
as just a, hey, ain't that life kind of thing. But I don't know. Where it goes is, the villain is, of course, the guy who hit her, and you see him in the crowd. And I mean, this is amazing storytelling right here. This is pure economy. If you want to know, like, the magic of comics, this is kind of it here, where it's like, you see the car being driven, the car hits the lady. You see the silhouette of the character, which in itself, I mean, that's what they say about character design, right? Is that you have to, a good character design will
you can identify them, right, just through their silhouettes and stuff. Yeah.
And so check. Obviously, crowd gathers. You see the guy from the silhouette in the crowd. If you read the comic earlier, you see the guy kind of leave his house, goes back to his own home, tries doing the things that he did before, gives up on it. Earlier, he threw a rock in the well to, wish for a partner. Throws the rock in, looks around, and look at this panel. Like, this is it. This is what I'm talking about as far as emotional heartstrings being pulled. You have to completely feel that loss. And I mean, it's fall, it's the bridge, it's him looking around, but there's no, tears, there's no words to cry. You're putting this meaning onto the comic itself, but at the same time, it's like more powerful that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find his stuff immensely emotional.
It worked on a panel to panel for me. Like each page you could read it insulated, but like you just showed with that panel of him on the bridge, you see him earlier, and even that, if you were to place them side by side, you would know that something went on in the middle of that, like between those moments on the bridge. So this was
Yeah, so initially, he's seeing these people all alone, or he's seeing these couples, and he's thinking he's alone, picks a rock, chucks it in, boom, there's the lady that kind of is the impetus for the rest of the story. And to see the last page end with nothing there. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how you get better storytelling than that. I don't know what medium you could tell the story better with. I mean, there's actually, this does beg the question, since we have two comics without dialogue, and I produced this one.
Right.
There is two animated features of note that came out recently. One was Robot Dreams. And it's on Hulu, not to shill for big Hulu or anything. And the other was Flow, which is actually getting so this is, tangent here. It's nominated for Best Animated Feature. And I think it won Best Animated Feature at Golden Globes. And it's also nominated for Best International Picture at the Oscars.
Wow.
Which I think is awesome to see, a cartoon get, treated with respect and put on the same bill. I mean, arguably, it seems hard to imagine it winning. This is besides the point. Obviously, Oscars are bullshit. Don't come at me. But the point being that those are both dialogue-less cartoons. They rely on score and a lot of things that comics can't use. But they also have a really strong emotional appeal because they're, you have to put your feelings onto these characters in the cartoons, and I don't know, I guess it's interesting how that can work, how having no dialogue is somehow more emotionally effective, apparently, from what I'm seeing, than everything's spelling it out. Like there was, if I think of two other animated features that came out recently. There's that Inside Out 2, which I felt was bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm a Pixar hater. I hate fucking Pixar movies for that reason, is because everything is like, I'm getting older and it's scary.
Right.
And it's obviously for children. I know. Fine.
Yeah.
Help someone come of age. Great. But yeah, it's hard to take seriously as an adult. And Wild Robot was maybe a good split the difference between the two, because that was a very pull at the heartstrings kind of cartoon, but it was also fairly explicit without being hitting you over the head. So that there is the spectrum, I guess.
Dude, was that the Gendy Tartakovsky one?
Oh, that's a question I don't have an answer for. It wouldn't surprise. It didn't seem as action driven.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like I don't know if it was his studio or like he actually had a story part in it, but that's where they had pitched that movie or something around, and none of the big time producers of animation wanted to have anything to do with it. And then I think his animation studio took it on. And he also has that Primal show, which is also dialogue-less. That is one of the greatest shows I've ever. Any story
Yeah.
For me, that was, man.
I mean, he's killed action sequences since Clone Wars, so
Oh, hell yeah.
we put some respect on
Since,
the Gendy name over here.
Yeah, man. Samurai Jack, you kidding me?
Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about your comic. I loved this book. I had
Nice.
This is one that I had no idea on, and I felt like I was a complete Philistine. So you know the background a little better. Why don't you pitch it to the people?
So this is Moon Trax by Tiger Tateishi. I always look that name up, but this is I would say like a surreal artist turned comic book fanatic. His name really is Tiger, and he was in fine arts before he tried or actually blended his worlds together. Let's see, so I don't want to go through this too far. See him here in the studio. He was in like the fine arts world for a long time and became obsessed with comics and the comic form, and took a kind of like took a swerve into comics, and his what would it be the word, like the benefactor, the person that would
The patron?
Yeah, there was a patron for him that was really was the only one to believe in him, really.
Well, he did get published in books, from what I
Right.
read from the liner notes,
Did he have
or
what was it, like sci-fi paperbacks and stuff like that?
from what I recall from the notes in here, it was like just illustration magazines. Oh, and an architecture magazine would
sense.
uses comics, which I thought was like, of course, because I mean the architect. There's a lot of
So angular.
it's all shapes
Yeah.
and colors and form and all that. It's kind of obsessive, but yeah. So it was interesting to read some comics that are arguably not comics because they're paintings and it's
Right.
fine art and it's very stuffy, but are so comics. And they work as well as, a kind of traditional alternative comics artists' comics, and reading them next to each other in close proximity. It's kind of the same techniques. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about, inventing your own pacing, having the story be told. There isn't a strong, each of these is their own piece, right? So there's no through line, there's no narrative, but, you're still telling the story of each page in between the panels. You're reading them. You're seeing all of these snake people come about. I mean, this is actually, this is Secret Invasion. This is Marvel shit right here.
Right. Yes.
This page right here is what they take a whole crossover event to do with the the scroll.
The Super Scroll? Yeah.
The scrolls have been hiding. That's one of the most fucked up series ever. So in those ones, it happens in the middle of John Byrne's Fantastic Four, which is like a run that I really hold in high esteem. But you see all of these. I'm pretty sure they're called scrolls, the
I think it
shapeshifter
is
ones,
the
right?
scroll.
And the whole thing is like, the scrolls have been dormant in the world for ages, and they just like once they hear the signal, they all pop back up and turn into their alien forms are revealed, and boom, we got invaded. But one of the most messed up panels, I wish I had it on me to show you. There's like, it shows the president's office, and like his table turns from a scroll into a person, meaning that this motherfucker has been just chilling in table form. The whole thing with the scroll is they're shapeshifters, just like every sci-fi thing, where they take on different people's faces, and you're supposed to be like, take the face of, we've all seen X-Men, where Mystique, turns into the president and does president stuff. You're not supposed to be furniture. It's fucked up, man. Anyways, that's this. This is Secret Invasion. This guy there's been worm people living among us all this time. But this whole story is written in your brain. It's not really explicitly giving you this information. You're just seeing it play out. And that is, again, pure comics magic.
Juxtapositional images in sequence, right? That's like, I butchered Scott's McCloud.
Old Scott McCloud, man.
Scott McCloud, but there you go.
Beated it down.
They look like triptychs or something. Like, I think this is why he was too good at surrealism.
Yeah.
I think that's how his brain worked. But he just became obsessed with comics and just couldn't let them go. Because I think his, here's a landscape that he drew right there.
I'm kind of shocked that he hadn't gone into like album cover illustration, because it seems like, if anything, maybe he was more influenced by the album covers than anything. Like that's basically like that one Traffic record where it's like shaped like a cube, right?
Yeah.
And he's, there's a lot of Beatles obsession, which I don't know why I'm always fascinated. I'm fascinated by people who love the Beatles obsessively. It's just interesting
to
me.
There's like the fervor to them, like
I have no like ire towards it. It's just it's interesting, and I don't know. Maybe there's like a whimsy to their music that's also embedded in these comics as far as the tone goes.
Right.
And I mean, most of these come from like the late 60s, early 70s, so it has that pop psychedelia feel, like down to specific images, like there's some repetition of like Chairman Mao and like classic pop art stuff, which, I guess if you consider like Warhol crossing over with the Velvet Underground, like there was a lot of pop art psychedelia crossover pretty built into both worlds, and kind of a fascination that the psychedelic artists had with comics and vice versa. That period that a lot of these paintings come from, it's, I don't know, kind of fascinating to see where the comics and the music cross over. Robert Crumb's Big Brother and the Holding Company cover, or
classic
Sunshine Superman from Donovan. Like there's all these kind of just strange crossovers, of which I would technically include this, so I would say this goes a lot further.
It fits without, I don't know if he actually made any albums or if he was asked to, but I'm sure he was kind of in with pop music at the time. This one is like, so these kids would have been what? It's the 60s. This guy was born. He might have been like in his late 20s or 30s.
I think he said he was born in like 40 something.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys would have grown up with like Looney Tunes,
right,
and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I see here. Like he has that sensibility of like, even though most of these are, I would say, like you were saying earlier, cosmic horrors. I mean, this one kind of subverts that idea of it. You see the impending doom balancing in the background, and then coming into the foreground, just what should have been a blast leaves you this like little plop moment, this silent little plop, but then the horror persists in a different format.
I'm trying to think. I think I've dog-eared one of my, because there's a lot of themes of like apocalypse happening, and this is amazing. This vortex shows up, and you see the guy touch it, and the dog gets sucked into it, and basically this strange dimension thing pops up, and you see it happening all over the world. Like this is cosmic horror. This is apocalypse.
Absolutely.
This is shock horror, but it's presented in such a passive way.
Yeah,
almost like the opposite of the Looney Tunes, where it's like no one's screaming or having their head turned around the other way or expressing. It's just these horrors just happen, and it's so calming to look at.
Doesn't this feel like kind of like, I've been reading a ton of like quantum computing stuff, and basically they're able to make like tiny wormholes, shit like that.
Sure.
So there's like that feeling to me now, like this feels like what's gonna happen when quantum computers and AI fucking form. There's just gonna be little wormholes that just break space-time like this, man. This is gonna be the next fucking sci-fi right here.
And it is just so interesting to see these two juxtaposed, because here you have the world ending, and you feel nothing. You're so removed, and then you have this like, I don't know. Like these are this Birdman's girl left him, and so he's just fantasizing about all these different scenarios that are completely disconnected from each other. She's and they're having an intimate moment. She says the bird guy's name, which by the way, as far as having dialogueless comics, let's respect this guy for understanding how to say so much with expressions. Yeah. I mean, this here is personal. This here is incredibly human. You feel how fraught the relationship is in this guy's fantasies. Him getting him getting discovered for having a second family. It's so great.
Dude, do you read? This is something that I wanted to bring up as well, and I don't know if it was even with this specific sequence. It must be working like this throughout the book, but you can read this going from there to there, or just reading it down each. There are, not about this sequence, but there's some pages that work in so many different ways.
Vertically. I bring these sequences up because they're all kind of self-contained in the same way that old Tiger's pages are each self-contained. Using them singing outside of this girl's window, and she comes to him.
Little Howard the Duck moment right there. If you guys have seen it.
Yeah, this absolutely works as a horizontal. You know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah,
and. But at the same time, this is all for also being kind of understated in its expressions. These aren't eyes bulging out and, all that. It's still, you're looking at blank faces, which, are supposed to be some kind of, I don't know. I don't think you would see this in a Pixar movie, right?
No.
Dead eyes.
That's like the more like adult, reaction, though,
Of course. And it's, it draws you in, and what a contrast, right? You have cosmic horror playing out in one panel, and you have personal heartbreak playing out in another, and they're both using the medium. One is tugging at your heartstrings, the other is funny, I guess. You're looking at the end of the world as kind of funny. Just an accomplishment in its own right. I'm just really wowed by the different techniques of both of these.
Yeah, there's a satire there with the comics kind of aspect to it, where he can play let's see, dude. Should we start hitting some sequences here?
Sure. Break it down.
Okay, so for the one that I wanted to bring up here was page 36. This is probably to me what. And I would say it extends to both of these pages. The use of time and iconography in both of these, it's pretty. They're used to the best effects for what each person wanted to push thematically. So with Tigers, it's cosmic horror. It's in our world. It's seemingly based on Earth, but it's this kind of this horrifying element where there's a cacophonous silence, I guess.
Right.
That's what I get from this guy. It's just this town is getting obliterated by this weird time cube that appears out of this dude's stomach here. I was likening it to Katsuhiro Otomo, Akira sort of comic, or Domu, or just something that seems it breaks your brain.
Too huge in scale to comprehend.
Right.
This is, there's a gelatinous cube indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, of course, just such a horrifying idea of being and I guess it's the blob too, right?
Yeah.
But being enshrouded in this gel of sorts. And again, just the way first of all, let's give some respect for how fucking agonizing that brick wall must have been to do. That's not fun.
Those are different shades of brick, y'all.
And we got, you see the people walking by. That's again the pacing, and that kind of even showing, in the space that it took for the dog to enter the panel and the guy's leg to leave the panel, you see this cube grow to this size, which of course gets exponential. The camera, if you will, or the view pans out, so you have to see how large it gets. this is very methodical, very mechanical, very organized and planned out, and also, a funny gag to read.
Yeah, it still kind of reads funny because it's like people don't react how you expect them to react when it's something that is otherworldly that you couldn't really comprehend other than on the page, really.
And there's no, fires or explosions or people running away. It's very passive.
Very passive. It makes it that much more impactful, or like makes you want to reread it in a sense.
Right. I don't know, for all the terror, it's very soothing, and I think they adopt something similar for, like any of it. He has so many. I bet I can open to a random page and it'll have something to do with the. I think going back to this. There we go. But like all of this stuff with the moon and just fun little landscape quirks. The moon transforming into a peacock and how it looks on the horizon. This is like beauty,
Yeah.
But it's also also equally passive as the world's destruction. So it's almost like just a complete lack of I guess moralizing.
Right.
Something beautiful and surreal happening and phenomenal is given as much weight as life ending. I also, side note, really like the switching from the pages from this matte finish to the gloss.
Yeah.
It gives the colors like a different level of saturation, and that's just super attention to detail.
Dude, doesn't this look like a little bit like a Fletcher Hanks vibe?
Oh yeah, like for sure. And there's no, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because it's presented as fine art, oil paintings and all that. I'm like kind of thinking in terms of like, well, themes and what is the artist obsessed with in a way that maybe I wouldn't if it was, someone just making a bunch of crude drawings.
Yeah.
Which is maybe doesn't speak, maybe I need to adjust how much credence I give these things. As much as I say as I love comics, I'm like, oh, well, this guy was painting them though, so he was really about it. But I'm fascinated with his fascination, again, because he is choosing to do all of this, like, panels instead of just having one. These are big canvases, but they're still broken down by panels, and it's like, he played with these lines a lot. I'm kind of fascinated by his use of lines. This is kind of a tangent of sort, but I think with pop music, I'm kind of obsessed with this notion of the fascism of song. A song in its 3-minute verse chorus nature kind of being this unrelenting structure. Likewise, a panel is fascist. A panel forces you to cut off one thing from the other. You can't take this as a whole. You have to look at each thing individually. And I think maybe he's playing with the line itself. Like this horizon line is a great example, right? It's just this passive thing in the background, but as this sort of mound grows, it's, optically you're seeing it in the foreground, but it's kind of a violence and how it cuts things in half, and what force does it have? I don't know. There's this theme of these lines as some kind of force. I don't even think a good or bad thing, just something that he seems a little fixated with.
Just playing around with some dimensions.
And even these bits right here where it's very clear he's, they're holding line. That's what they call it, the black outline on something, there's no like black holding line on any of this stuff. So it's sort of, and the panels are less apparent, it's all kind of based on the colors itself. I have no conclusion to draw from this. I don't think he was, pro or anti-line or anything. Just kind of some things I noticed with his work when you see it all presented in this kind of way.
I mean, the high fantasy kind of, well, this will be corny, obviously. I'm going to preface this, but it's like with the psychedelia of it all.
Right.
It's almost like I don't know if he did take drugs. I'm sure you must to be able to think of stuff like this. It's the blending of form and formlessness.
Right.
That's like happens when you have like acid and things like that. But he's making this crescent form out of this coil.
Yeah, the orange peel kind
this way. And I is he meditating on what the moon means or something? Like, what are we supposed to think?
He's fixated with this moon. This guy is goo goo gaga for the moon.
Gaga for the moon.
This guy loves his moon, people. He can't get enough of it.
He can't, man. I mean, and so was this also a pick on this side, or because I kind of do see like he's also playing with panel layout.
Right. Yeah. I guess these kind of complement each other. But I mean, how much of that is just what he needs to tell the story? Because of course you need that big.
Right.
I mean, a bigger splash at the bottom to show everything he's doing. How much of it is reverse engineered? You know, do you start from this panel and then work kind of retrofit it into the most ridiculous thing possible? I don't know. I think maybe there's kind of an obsession with form. It's, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily trying to do away with it. It's like just, I don't know, understanding it to enough to where you can play with it and distort it. And I mean, there's also a skill level involved. Like I said, if a lot of these are published in architecture magazines, you know, they are held up to some kind of scrutiny as far as like what the shapes are. You have to really understand all of these things you're drawing, textures and all of that. I guess what I'm saying is I think it's interesting when one could stand on its own as just a landscape painter or a surrealist of some sort, or some kind of take on like Duchamp or, you know, one of them highfalutin artists. But you're choosing to work with panels and you're choosing to tell sequential stories. It's probably to your own detriment, truthfully. I don't know. It gives the whole body of work a lot more impact. I don't know. I was smitten from the book and the body of work from start to finish.
I'm glad you liked it, man. I was doubting my pick for a second because I tend to go to like these formless comics,
right?
Kind of like I don't know, but with this one, this is like 50 Watts books put me onto this. They are the ones to blame for having my bank account be below the red for many, many years. But I don't know. I feel the same. I feel like he must have been smitten with just the comic book format or something, because he went up until the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? Like he stuck with this kind of way of storytelling that
must have been alienating for people who like to buy, you know, nice oil paintings from shops, you know.
Right.
Because if you want to have some big capital A art painting hanging on your wall, you don't want it to be a funny book.
Yeah, right.
And that's, I guess, what's interesting is that it is, you know, not comics, it's paintings, it's high art, it's fancy, but it's so comics, it's everything comics. It's, you know, you have to have a complete understanding of how, you know, pacing and panel-to-panel transitions and colors and layouts and all of that stuff works in order to tell this art. So it's like, you know, much as the white zombies are more human than human, this is like more comics than comics. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think just to cap it off, I just want to show, or unless you have any others that you.
I know. I read it.
So
my piece.
There's just this sequence of. I don't know if you worked for Fruit of the Loom for a little while in Japan, but there's some fruit comics here that we get.
That was that's the Warhol thing too. Fruits. At some point, you know, you just want, and I guess the way pop art works, right, is you just show people what they like or what's like, you know, fun to look at. What's more fun to look at than crazy, colorful fruits? I could see it just kind of like breaking you in a sense. Once you get used to drawing them, you just like doing more and more.
He just keeps working it. Well, that's where, I mean, I don't have many more points on this one. It's just a cool little triptych.
Yeah, for sure. And for something that's outside of the regular comics, even outside of like alternative comics, it's every bit as essential as any Daniel Klaus or Hernandez Bros work. It's great, and one that's very much in that sphere is this Jason comic. And what an interesting little contrast we got here. A buffet for the eyes.
A veritable buffet for your face.
I think I said what I need to say. You got anything else?
No, man. I just get at us in the comments and let us know. Did we nail it? Did we even answer what we came out to answer? I think we did.
I'd like to know some more recommendations for dialogueless comics, because I mean the big one that you would underline 3 times is Frank, of course. That's
who's Frank? Wait.
Frank, the little puppy dog man.
What?
Yeah, who writes Frank? Oh,
wait,
Jim Woodring. Jim Woodring.
Oh, of course. I didn't even know the name. Wow.
Yeah, Woodring's Frank.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like the monster. But there's this comic called White Cube that came out recently. Even if we don't talk about it on here, I'll have to give it to you. That's pure mayhem. But yeah, if you have any good recommendations for dialogueless comics, because there's also, last thing I'll interrupt myself with here, like these kind of take a while to read.
Did I mention? I don't know if I mentioned on here, but this took me 3 times to go through and actually just come out with. I love the story so much. I had to go back the 3rd time and just finish it up, and this might be a new obsession of mine, man.
Yeah,
this
because of course,
is fucking beautiful.
Of course, you can just just flip through it like really quick and kind of get the sense of what's going on. But you're so rewarded by taking your time and getting into all the little nuances here and there and how it all works out. So yeah, it does kind of it's not exactly like easier to read or harder. It's a pleasure either way. But what a great technique! What a great tool to have in the toolbox of a comics creator. And I'd like to know some more people who utilize that to great effect. If indeed there is a comment section to this, I'd like to hear some recs.
Get at us in the comments, y'all.
Are we gonna sign off here?
Oh yeah.
All right, at ease, privates. This was the War on Comics this time around. We'll see you next week.
See ya.